Good evening. We wrote one story together about two opposite kind of islands. To come and live here, I left the mainland's inland, high-altitude archipelagos of dry islands.
The sun, it is gone, I shouted, after I woke up from a coma in our round-shaped house. I saw my family surrounding me in tears. When I tried to get out of bed and enjoy the light of the day, I got dizzy and sank back my lowest ebb deep within my tears. Friends came to the room and sat. They looked at me with pity and began talking among themselves while I looked on. To avoid seeing people, I went out in the dark, in the moonless nights. His father holding me with his right hand, and the lantern was on. Months later, my body was stable and normal. I got bored and ventured out. People were greeting me with big smiles and with thumbs up, as if I'd won something. Then their smiles were out. They were replaced with waving and waving hands, then with indifference, and then with smoking.
We haven't been cut off, and we didn't rise to meet a thinner element of the light of day. We didn't move, and we never will, unless our better half will, and it wants the wide land. We have been taken over, earth eaten into liquid, erasure made us, and mist and abyss are our constituency. Our coming into existence fissured a plenum, fractured the continuum, and did what was whole until water took over water with its penchant for disarticulation and foreign words. And as water disarticulates land that was firm, whoever wants back has to face water, take in what is fathomless and is phantomful, and we all are amphibious, and we will remain ambiguous, as even who wants forward must cross water.
One morning in the summer, I was sitting alone on the banks of the river, daydreaming, dreaming of being away from this camp, far and away, alone and never to give out. When I saw a woman with afro hair emerge from the bushes and into the river. She looked like an Eritrean People's Liberation Front fighter. The woman threw her bag on the riverbank and stripped naked. I recognized her face. She was the singer I saw last night, where the People's Front had their annual summer party. Many people sprayed paper money over her head, and some others placed their money on her forehead. And some women who did not have money threw their jewelry at her feet, and while others danced near her, forming a circle and slowly circumambulating in an endless circular motion to the rhythm of her music. I did not dance or hear what she sang, but the fighters normally would show up in the summer to entertain us. They sang, danced, and performed plays to remind us about our duty to the revolution. The woman walked and stood on the riverbed and splashed her body with water.
Wishing stillness is our nature now. An attempt to resist time's superiority can be space. Only space. Space only. A folded roadmap stored in the drawer of a previous home. That home felt safer than this, but every fold of the map is a cleavage wearing our edges and bringing up waters as if they want something. The coral reef of torn paper tells you just what we are.
She was tall, dark, with muscular arms and legs and two big breasts. The woman touched her belly gently and then swam slowly. She turned over and floated on her back, her belly protruding from the water like an ocean island. It is then I thought about red flowers. The red flowers, as Mom told me, were the children born to female fighters who would be separated from their parents and placed in communal creches away from the battlefields, so that their parents could keep fighting. Later on, she got out of the river, and while she was putting her trousers, she noticed me. She looked at me and said something. I said nothing. She put the rest of her clothes on, walked and stood in front of me. I got scared and shouted, "I am deaf!"
A sea change into something rich and strange. What was eroded from the mainland digs its days out of its past, generates variation on what others did. Railings on bridges and tar over pebbles. Under the bridge, schools of fish swim in one direction only, and clouds gather at daybreak, bright and tight as her body was, a wall of clouds that absorbed sound from engines and motors, ferry and lorry, turbine or piston, and despite the early traffic, one sound is now audible, the erasing sound of ripples on water correcting what night or dawn had penciled in. Aqueous ink that absorbs the paper like water absorbed this flank of land the day we saw the permanent cobalt of a change of heart.
The woman smiled. She rubbed my head and then my cheek with her right hand. But I saw the top part of her little finger was missing. She thought for a moment and then took out a newspaper from her bag and handed it to me. She rubbed my cheek again, waved goodbye and left. I had never read a newspaper before. I looked at all the pictures first, and then I began reading the paper page after page. I did not pay attention to what was happening around me. It'd be the same as yesterday, I thought. Children would arrive and play on the riverbed. Women would fill their water jugs and wash their children. Men would come with their donkeys and fill their leather panniers with water. The boys would jump into the river and swim. Giraffes would cross the river by boat. The birds would fly over. The light would be the same with no clouds inside. For a long time, I carried on reading and rereading the same paper until I persuaded my father to bring me a few newspapers from one of his travels to the city to buy his fabric. He was a tailor.
Loss isn't anything new. It doesn't add water depth to your eyes, a water surface at best. You know loss, the ways your fingers go numb or your mind copes with it at times, watching children go by. Until the day comes when you face what you lost on the doorstep of your new flat, and you will invite it to step in, or it will ask you out, and you walk down to the lake like you would with your aged mother, and her skin softens, and her eyes deepen when you look at her with eyes that look through her.
I read and reread what my father taught me, day and night, and ignored the other side. Once my father noticed my love to my new world. He made an agreement with a news agent and the city who kept for him every issue of a few newspapers. And he picked them up whenever he was in the city. Within months, I had almost 1,000 of papers in our storehouse under my bed. My father was so proud of me that he'd let me read him and his friends the news from the papers every evening.
Our child goes down the corridor of her old school. She slows down where the hangers were, just enough to throw her jacket on the peg, and hurries down the memory aisle towards the classroom on her left, where she hasn't been for years now, and where she isn't now, as they tell her again. Years like parents are a double sea, you must cross them. Years like parents, and they will be there for you when you aren't.
At the age of 12, I went back to school a year late. My teacher noticed how good I was at reading fluently. Most of the people in the camp had no radios. The teacher began writing news from the radio at night, so I could read them to the students. In the mornings, hundreds of students would line up for the morning queues. Those queues were made up of 6 classes lined up in rectangular format, 2 rows deep. I'd stand in the middle, and one of the first ever news I ever read was,
These two kind of islands, continental and originary, reveal a profound opposition between ocean and land. Continental islands serve as a reminder that the sea is on top of the earth, taking advantage of the slightest sagging in the highest structures. Oceanic islands, that the earth is still there under the sea, gathering its strength to punch through the surface. We can assume that these elements are in constant strife, displaying a repulsion for one another. In this, we find nothing to reassure us. Thank you.
Woo!